I think when you go through a lot of stuff, you know who you are pretty quick. And so I did go through a lot of stuff. You know, I think that a lot of, you know, illness or diseases that you cannot see, people automatically, at least back then, would default, you know, it's in their head. Something's wrong. They're oversensitive.
And by the way, it's in your nervous system that early years in your life that you thought it was in your head, right?
Oh, totally.
Until there was a diagnosis.
And then I felt validated. The diagnosis was like, yes, it wasn't in my head. This is legit. You know, like these stomach pains were no joke. So I basically grew up with Crohn's most of my life. I joke that having Crohn's disease was a great like friend filter, boyfriend filter, any kind of filter.
Really?
If you were not genuine, like you were out of my life.
Yeah.
Like you were
and you
either
picked
all
it up,
in or not.
You picked it up fast.
Right away.
You had like,
I had, you know, it's just like a thermometer. Like, are you good? Are you genuine? Not? Okay, out. That's when I started to understand how important, you know, knowledge about managing your healthcare is so important.
And you knew that then?
Well, because I would go to the ER and then get, you know, I was going to an ER that maybe didn't take my health insurance. And it was the first time I was in a situation where I wasn't with my parents.
Wow.
I was under my dad's plan. And I would get back 2 months later, a month later, get a bill from the hospital, a big bill.
Yeah.
And then get stressed because I didn't want to go back to my parents like I did something wrong. And there
it would happen,
right?
Yeah.
And so fast forward, I graduate college and
you get the gig at Goldman.
But listen to this.
Okay.
So I had about 4 offers, Goldman being one of them.
Yep.
And it wasn't about the name. To me, I asked the HR departments to give me their benefits.
Good for you.
And I had to look at, because I knew that medical insurance was going to be a huge thing for me.
Yeah.
And I needed to make sure one of them, I remember one of my, Merrill Lynch, MetLife, Goldman, and there was a 4th one. And Goldman had the best medical insurance. That's why I chose them.
Yeah.
I started a new platform to empower patients.
And what's the name of your?
So it's called Secrets of Lemons.
Is there?
It is
website?
secretsoflemons.com. We're on Facebook, Instagram. And basically I blog, write, video about living with, you know, a hidden disability.
Awesome.
I've had lots of surgeries since being diagnosed with Crohn's.
How many surgeries?
I think, well, I'm missing 4 organs. I've probably had about 7 or 8 surgeries at this point.
Okay.
But all is well. I started the conversation around medical insurance and medical bills. It's a huge part of my life now. And I got all these people sending me messages. Can you go into this a little more? And so that's why I reached out to you. After speaking to Joe, who knows so much, and it was awesome. You know, we kind of have like there's like 4 areas I'd like to talk about.
Did you guys like strategize like a game plan?
Yes.
I'd love to hear it.
Yes.
I'd love to go. Let's go. If you want to go into the first area.
Yeah. So
let's just kind of talk
it's all about
it.
managing your healthcare. And the number one thing I would say in terms of tips
Yep.
is whenever you get a medical bill, ask questions. Just don't pay it.
Ask
Right,
questions to who? Like, Joe, what do we do?
Well,
I get a bill.
You get a bill, right?
Yep.
What should come next? An explanation of benefits. You
Yeah.
match it up. But everything is kind of generated based on a CBT code, right?
Okay.
So it's a 4-digit code that somebody's keying in behind the scenes.
Got it.
How people are human.
Yep.
You can switch one
So they
number.
make a mistake and the number goes higher.
Correct.
Or vice versa. Yeah.
Or vice versa, right?
Yeah.
Does it happen? It's happened.
Oh,
right?
it happens all the time.
It happens all the time, right? So we're kind of we're always like, okay, we get a bill, we should pay it.
Yeah.
That's our big.
That's what I do. I write it. Yeah.
Right. But did you ever look at the bill? Right. So we're really kind of trusting in other people to do kind of the basics, which, listen, people mess up and it happens, but you got to educate yourself. You got to look at the bill. You got to match it up and make sure financially, you know, everything is being transparent and that you're educating yourself.
But I have a question with that.
Yeah.
So is there, and I'm not vilifying,
insurance,
I'm not vilifying anybody, but can
Yeah.
doctors purposely kind of pass it off to you or insurance company? Like, is there like games that are being played there besides someone mistakenly putting in the code?
I would think there's errors.
Okay.
I would think they
Human
would quote it human error.
Okay, but is it really fake confusion? You won't say it.
I won't
okay,
say it.
I got you.
I won't say it, but I think
got what you're
that-
saying.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's people are. You always say is people are human.
Yes.
But can somebody relook at that claim and say, oh, we messed
Yes.
up? Absolutely,
Yeah.
it happens all the
Well,
time.
the other thing is you can negotiate. I would compare this to when people get their credit card bills. I'm sure they just don't pay it. They look at the detail, right?
Yes.
Say no difference.
So have the same
managing
mindset.
your so we know that there's a connection between your health,
Hmm.
right, your physical health, and your financial health.
Oh, yeah.
So this is real, as you know, better than anyone, right? So this is no different. That's how people have to start looking at it.
Yes,
right?
I agree 100%.
So maybe the insurance information, maybe when you went to the doctor or went to the hospital, whatever the case may be, maybe they wrote down the wrong information.
Yeah.
Maybe your insurance rejected it at first because the code was missing, or maybe it was just human error. Maybe the codes are there. If you call your insurance company, maybe a little talking, a little asking questions, they might cover it.
Yeah.
Just ask.
Yeah.
So I think that the number one thing I would say is ask. Don't be afraid to call your carrier. So say you're Blue Cross Blue Shield or United Healthcare. Call, talk to somebody. I have a lot of doctors that are out of network that don't take my insurance, right? So what I do is I have the type of insurance plan that I can go out of network and submit bills later on.
Okay. So how does that work? Like I'm 2
So
years
how does that
old.
work is like I go to you, you don't take insurance, you don't take my insurance.
Yep.
So I pay for it out of pocket.
$3,000, let's say. I'll make up a number.
Whatever the case is.
Yeah.
And actually that's part of one of our bullet points is if you don't take my insurance, I'm going to find out, do you take other insurance? Can we negotiate a rate?
Oh, so people could do that.
People can do
You
that.
could negotiate.
So it depends.
Like with a doctor. Like,
so for example, I
didn't know that.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
So much people don't know.
Absolutely.
I say I go to a doctor, a gastro, and they don't take United Healthcare, and I say, okay, but you take Blue Cross Blue Shield. Yeah. Okay. Well, what is your contracted rate with Blue Cross Blue Shield? $150 a visit, but out of pocket it would have been $300 a visit.
Got it.
Right.
Got it.
Can I pay that negotiated rate?
Got it.
You could totally do that.
And are they willing to do that, or do they
Yeah, you
lose
just have
out?
to ask.
Okay.
I mean, at the end of the day, I'd like to think if you're going to a good doctor, whose intentions are good,
integrity based. Got it.
Yep.
they're going to work.
Yeah.
They're gonna work with you.
But I would say a majority of the people that I go to, my insurance does pay out of network expenses.
Got it.
Okay. So
Yep.
I have to pay whatever their fee is.
Yep.
I pay for it, and then I submit the bill later. Many times when I'm dealing with my insurance carrier, the bill gets lost.
Got it.
And so there's follow-up. There's a lot of paperwork. So
Got
this for me personally, this is a time-consuming task, but I have a lot of doctors and I have a lot of things that just given my medical situation that I have to follow up on. So the next one is group plans. So say you're 25, 45, and you've had a group plan your whole life. Group plan meaning medical insurance or other benefits through your company, okay? And you kind of get every year this form that you sign. Yeah, this looks good.
Yep.
Most people don't read it. They don't know what's involved.
Yep.
There's a lot of things that are covered that people don't even know about. Educate yourself.
Like what?
Like vision. Maybe you're paying for eyeglasses, but they're covered.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Maybe you need a root canal and you paid for it out of pocket, but it's included in your dental plan that you weren't aware of.
Wow.
Right?
Very common.
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so I would say, so we kind of, what were some of the things that you need to think about when having a group plan?
Well, we were talking about the different, we'll call it vehicles, whether it was taking advantage of, pre-tax savings and FSAs
that was a big one. Talk about that.
or
That was a good
health
one.
savings accounts.
Flexible savings accounts.
Yeah,
Yep.
flexible spending accounts. And there's a lot of unique things or avenues that are out there, I should say, we'll call it vehicles, that could help kind of offset your medical costs, your vision costs, your dental costs. You look at it and you're like, well, I'm just going to kind of decline it because I don't even know what it is.
Yep.
Right. So, we look at it as, do you have resources that are available to you? Right. And
Like what? Give me an example.
Well, a broker, right?
Okay.
So an
Yep.
advisor, a broker, advisor, somebody trusted partner.
And people should really think about that, right? Like to have a
Yes.
trusted in this space, like any other space, but like this is high level importance when it comes to your money and your health.
Absolutely.
Most companies do have it. They do. They should, but if they're not present, do they know? Right? They usually get it. And we talked
Got
about
it.
this. How many times did you get the piece of paper, say, elect your benefits? I need to know in 24 hours.
Every
right?
October, yeah.
Right. Every October is your
Yeah.
renewal. Right.
Yeah.
But did
Exactly.
anybody ever come in and have the conversation with you?
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes they do.
Not really, though.
Sometimes they
Yeah.
don't. Right. So we just talk about us being that person.
Yeah.
We're more than willing to help. Right.
Yeah.
But then it comes into educating yourself, right? Because you made a comment before about the cost, right? It's like the cost of a condom. When you look at your bills on a monthly basis, it's mortgage and then insurance,
Yep.
probably. And
Yep.
then if you're a business owner, right, it's payroll and then, employee benefits.
Yep.
right? So it's all this money that you're spending, we're spending, you're spending, is just knowing, are you spending it the right way?
Yeah.
Are you maximizing and utilizing it the right way? What I would say is we're willing to educate. We're willing to take the time.
The phone time, yeah.
You know, because again, we're all on I'll call it a level playing field, right? Yeah. So specifically in New Jersey, it's age banded, right? Groups are age banded rate when you're 50 and under. So there's no negotiations, right? The rates are set by the rates. So what sets me apart from the next person? It's being able to pick up the phone and getting Joe Davis, right? Or, you know, having an educated response to your question, right? And if you, and know what you don't know. If you don't know, have right resources to find that. Right? So I think that's what really kind of sets that apart.
So the more people that listen to this, hopefully they're going to be not only financially better off, healthy financially, but maybe they're going to go to the doctor because maybe they're going to, oh, I didn't know I could go to, and maybe there's a diagnosis, maybe there's a catch, and I've just impacted, right? Yeah. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. So awesome. Anyway, so I think when we were talking about group plans, I think it's important once you get your benefits or your medical insurance, be informed. And you could go to someone like Joe. If you don't have someone in your company to ask, call him.
Yeah, call Joe. Call Joe.
And have him help explain it to you. But you mentioned two things that, again, I learned. So you have the two ways to save pre-tax dollars. Explain those.
Flexible spending accounts.
FSA.
Right. FSA.
And that is pre-tax dollars that you apply to medical costs, eligible medical costs. Correct. And do those expire that year or don't?
So they do expire.
In 1 year.
You elect for the year.
Use it or lose it, right,
It's
Joe?
a use it or lose it benefit. There is a little bit of a, grace period, rollout, however you want to call it, but that's a use it or lose it, situation. There's also health savings accounts.
In other words, it's an HSA.
That's
right?
an HSA. Yep. Look at you, Rob. Right?
I'm talking to my people right now.
Yeah, and that is coupled with a high deductible health plan. So there is a difference, right? There is a difference, and we can get into requirements on an individual basis.
Yeah,
right?
Reach out to these guys if you have specific questions.
But that is something that, grows like a investment account. You can contribute money every year to it. And through the course of the years, right, you will be able to purchase eligible medical expenses, right, in one lump sum, right? You save all your bills, and you can withdraw that money if you wanted to, or chip away at it. But you can invest it.
If you have a high deductible that could go towards paying that high deductible. Didn't even know that existed.
I don't either. What is that?
Yeah, so like a hospital indemnity plan, a voluntary plan, right? The Afflex of the world.
Oh, like Klaus. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right? So they're traditionally on a group platform.
Got it.
Right? And people are like, oh, well, it's just extra money. It's just an added cost.
Yeah.
But do it's pennies on the dollar.
And the employer doesn't care, though, because it's a voluntary benefit, so the employee pays on their own. So the employer is going to let you offer that all day long.
Yep.
Got it.
They should offer it, right? Because it's benefit, value added.
Yep.
Right. But there are options to do that on an individual basis, right?
I didn't know that.
So it's not for everybody, but if you don't ask that question, it's you don't know, and it is available.
Know that these are out there. I had to utilize both of them at various points in my career. I got sick. I was out for 2 months. And luckily, I was smart enough to notice that because I read it in detail before starting the job. And I paid out of my paycheck automatically into short-term disability. And I was lucky enough where I was out of work for 3 months and I got my full paycheck.
Wow.
And that was huge at 23 years old. Yeah. To pay my rent, to pay my bills. I didn't have that much savings at the time. So these are things that people should know about, especially people in my world who have a chronic illness or chronic disease. This is a huge portion of most likely, their medical expenses are going to be one of the top expenses in their life, right? And so if they have vehicles where they could feel in control and empowered, then they can make better decisions, and hopefully that affects their physical health better. Things happen to us for a reason. We all got lemons in life.
God works through people.
Yes. And so these lemons, if you look at it,
make some lemonade.
You will. It will lead you to the lemonade.
Make the best lemonade stand on the shop. I mean, that's what she did.
So I'm encouraging others to lean into their lemons.
Yeah.
Squeeze the hell out of them.
It's an amazing story.
And make the best lemonade. I know what I don't know, and I have no problem asking and finding someone who's an expert at it. So you have questions, ask Joe. Or ask someone that you trust regarding, you know, any of your benefit packages, whether you work for someone or whether you work for yourself. Get creative. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? They say no, and then you haven't lost anything. The other thing I will say is that I encourage people to really think about when it comes to, we know, like I said earlier, there's a connection between your financial welfare and your physical welfare, right? How you feel.
But why have all the money if you're not in good shape?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And you know, especially a lot of my friends, you know, they're turning 50s and 60s and different diagnoses coming on. They spent all this time working so hard, saving all this money, and then they get something tragic that happens to them. So I think I'm just starting the discussion for people to care about working all those hours is not going to mean a damn bit of anything if you do not take care of yourself. So taking care of yourself means having the appropriate financial kind of cushion, insurance, you know, savings, whatever, to take care of yourself. Aside from exercise, enjoy your family, eat well.
And preempt it by going to the doctors, to your point. Go check out as many doctors as you can if the health insurance is going to cover it.
I'm actually about to release a pamphlet on managing the relationship between the patient and doctor.
So is it going to be like a free? Is it going to be like a PDF free book?
It's free.
Yeah,
it's a
awesome.
free ebook.
Yeah, that works really well. You know, we get a lot of access with that.
So when people are nervous about going to the doctor, so I gave some tips on what to think about. How do you choose a doctor?
Oh, that's awesome. That's very valuable.
Yeah, so I've got a lot. Listen, I just want people to take care of themselves.
Awesome. And how can they reach you one last time?
So Lisa at secretsoflemons.com. Secrets of Lemons, the website, or you know, send me a message on Instagram, Facebook. I'm available.
Yeah, and you're going to respond.
I'm very good at responding.
Absolutely. Yeah. Joe, what about you, brother?
So Joe at bmpg.net. And like I said, this conversation has brought a lot of, I would say, insight to me because of you and obviously Rob. But, you know, just if I can get a point across of education, right? Know what you don't know, but don't be afraid to ask the questions, right? And I think that's probably the biggest thing is because you feel, oh, well, that person, because of the old days, they had a PPO or an HMO or I had a $5 that has all changed. And it changes every day. It changes monthly. It changes yearly. And you got to, you know, educate yourself on your healthcare and what's out there for you.
Awesome.
That's
awesome.
what it comes down to.
Thank you guys so much for being here, and thanks for reaching out to me, Lisa. I'm so grateful, you know, for this, and I'd love to have a playback maybe in 90 days and see like
I was gonna say
what happened from here.
Any questions, any comments?
Absolutely.
Like, if there's a hot topic that people want to learn about,
absolutely, I would love to do that, and you know, for all you folks, check it out. I mean, we always want to talk about how to turn decades into days in business. We always talk about modeling. If you want to be successful in whatever you do, model somebody that's been there, done that is still active and add 10% to it. It's no different here. It's like, okay, how do I make sure that my health is in order while increasing my wealth, and at the same time ask myself empowering questions while digging into my nervous system and really tapping into understanding the words that hit my brain, the emotion I'm going through as it hits. So when I understand my feelings attached to it, I'm presenting a certain presence to the world. And I felt that today. I mean, I know if you kind of play this back, you'll feel like inspiration, motivation, and you'll be able to see what it looks like from an entrepreneur standpoint, what it looks like to make sure that, hey, listen, I want to live to be 80, 90, 100 years old, but I want to be healthy, and I want to make sure that family first, because that's what I heard today, is really the most important thing to create that legacy. I want to thank you guys so much for everything. It was awesome.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.